MrBeast just made history and hit 400 million subscribers. But what if I told you that's not the kind of success that matters to God? Today we're breaking down how the Bible defines true success and why chasing followers might cost you your soul. So stick around and we'll deep dive into what true success really is. On June 1st, 2025, MrBeast just hit 400 million subscribers on YouTube. There's no doubt about it. He has already been a big hit, from being a viral sensation all the way to having his own candy line. He truly has made a huge impact and has helped a lot of people in the process. In the world's eyes, he has been very successful. But what exactly is success? And what does it look like to God? Now let's just say that some of you have no idea exactly who MrBeast is. Well, he's a YouTuber, not quite like any other we have ever seen. His real name is Jimmy Donaldson, and he started YouTube way back in 2012, at the age of 13. He quickly rose to fame with his generosity videos, his big stunts, and seemed to crack some kind of viral formula. He truly is a sensation on YouTube, to say the least. Some quick Googling and you'll see that his net worth is at $1 billion. But is that true success? In a worldly view, we see success as fame, money, power, and even popularity. Our culture seems to gravitate more towards that and even see it as a great reward, and we can be influenced by that very easily. Even in our friend groups and families, we want to be looked at as successful. We hear stories of actors who slept in their cars before they eventually rose to fame. We hear of singers who didn't think they could make it to the end of the month, but eventually were discovered. They made it. They are successful. And we absolutely love to hear those stories. There's no doubt about it. But what does the Bible actually say about success? Success in God's eyes isn't money, power, fame, popularity, or even influence. To actually understand what God has to say about success, we need to look and see what the scriptures actually say. In Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21, Jesus tells us, "Do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal, but lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys, and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Did you catch that last part? Whatever we consider treasure, that is where we're going to put our heart. That tells me that God's success scoreboard isn't about a huge following. It's ultimately about following Him. Sometimes we get so hung up on earthly things that we just tend to lose sight of heavenly things. The things that truly matter. We are more concerned about our possessions and how much stuff we actually have. Let's take a look at what Jesus tells us in Luke. "Beware, guard against every kind of greed. Life is not measured by how much you own." Our success is determined by how much we have here on earth. Our success story should be written in heaven. Paul tells us in 1 Corinthians 9:25, "Everyone who competes in the games goes into strict training. They do it to get a crown that will not last, but we do it to get a crown that will last forever." This verse reminds us that our everlasting reward isn't here, but in heaven. Now don't get me wrong. I am not saying that being popular or being an influence or being successful in a worldly view is wrong in any way. It can be used as a very useful tool and platform. We can use it to glorify God. Take Joseph, Daniel, or even Esther. They were influencers in a very ungodly system. They used their platform to honor God. We even see this today with several pro athletes, for example. They use their platforms to give all glory and credit to God. That is a way that they are using their popularity to spread the message of the gospel. I do want to give a word of caution to all my believers. Don't worship celebrities. When we start to worship celebrities, we start to make them our God. Not just celebrities can be our God, though, but materialistic things as well. Money, power, wealth, homes, cars, anything we can put before the one true God is in fact an idol. Exodus 23 explicitly tells us, "You must not have any other God but me." Idols and gods back then were common practice and came in different forms. Today is no different. Although they may look a little different, God's commandment still applies. Now let's take a look at Jesus. We read through all the four Gospels that large crowds often drew to him and followed him. But after hard truths and convicting sermons, many walked away. From this, many of his disciples turned back and no longer followed him. It makes you wonder if they truly followed Jesus for who he was, or if for the miracles he was performing. Were they making the miracles of Jesus their idol? The gospel itself isn't a popularity contest. And from preaching these truths, Jesus even lost followers. If Jesus lost followers, what does that tell us about truth versus popularity? In our lives, we will learn that just because it's true doesn't necessarily mean it's popular. But that shouldn't stop us from spreading the truth. Now, you don't need a YouTube channel, a huge Instagram following, or even have to post to TikTok to make an impact on or even spread the truth. We can do it right where we are, right in our own community, or right in our circle of influence to spread the good news of Jesus. The Bible tells us if you are faithful in little things, you will be faithful in large ones. We need to stay faithful in sharing the gospel in our own areas of influence. Now, let's say you do have a YouTube channel. Let's say you have a big following on Instagram or even thousands of followers on TikTok. I encourage you to use that gift and those platforms to glorify Christ. Don't be ashamed of the gospel of Christ. As Paul put it in Romans 1:16, don't compromise your truth so you can just get more views. Stay true to what you are commanded to do. Now, let's say you have thousands of followers, tons of subscribers, and you were just laying in bed one night and you hear a voice from heaven say, "Do you feel like you made it? Do you feel successful?" And let's just say, for the sake of the story, you say, "Yeah, I have thousands of followers, I'm having an influx of income, and I'm surrounded by all these expensive things." You'd feel pretty good about your answer, right? What if the next thing that voice said was, "But do you know me?" That would make your heart sink like a rock. You've done great things with your platforms, but completely abandoned Jesus in the process. At that point, and at the end of your life, it doesn't matter how successful you see yourself. It matters how successful you were to Jesus. I say all that to say this. What are you chasing? What do you consider success? Ask yourself, am I chasing fame, influence, popularity, or am I chasing God? Chasing God and spreading the good news of Jesus should be our first and top priority in all that we do. We need to examine our motives. In Proverbs, it says, "All the ways of a man are pure in his own eyes, but the Lord weighs the spirit." Whether you are rich or poor, famous or unknown to most, your souls and even your platform matters. How are we using it to glorify God? And if you aren't a Christian and you happen to stumble across this video, I encourage you to follow Jesus and be in an everlasting relationship with Him. I want to also encourage you all to realign your true definition of success with that of what God considers success. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this encouraged you and gave you something to think about. And as always, remember, God bless, Jesus loves you, and have a great day.